Hello, everyone. My name is Jenny Burak, and I am an astrologer and an energy healer. I work with and I channel the energy of Archangel Metatron. And we're going to talk a little bit about the astrology of April that is already in full swing and kind of go over what's happening with the planets because as above, so below, as within, so without. The energies of the planets govern the energy of what's happening here on the planet collectively as well as individually. So we have a new moon in Aries, and on the 5th, that's happening in London. It's at 9:50 a.m. So it's on the 5th and it's a 5. We look at the minutes after for the full moon or for any moon event because we all have the same, we might not have the same hour, but we do have the same minutes. And 5 is about change. And with the numerology of the number 5, we can also be raring to go and really wanting that change, but maybe not doing it responsibly or kind of like aiming like this instead of just straight on. And that's basically the energy that we have going on. We're all contending with that energy right now with the sun in Aries, because everything that is in Aries, including this new moon that's happening in the middle of the constellation of Aries at 15 degrees, is being governed by Mars. Mars is in Gemini right now, so he is answering to Mercury, who is hanging out really tightly with Neptune right now. And Mercury does not like to be in Pisces since the 10th of February when Mercury entered Pisces. Even before he began his retrograde, it's been a little bit confusing. A lot of things have been going on, and it's been a very long time that he has spent in the constellation of Pisces, a place that he would rather not spend any time in. Mercury likes things to be moving along. He likes the, he's where we get like the rhythms and the cycles and movement and motion, how we think. And in Pisces, it can be kind of cloudy and you're not really sure, am I moving? And that's what we've all been contending with collectively. So when this new moon happens, Mars is still going to be in Gemini, answering to that Mercury. Now, on the 17th of April, Mercury will move out of Pisces and into Aries, and Mars will still be in Gemini. So in other words, they'll be answering to one another, Mercury and Mars. So that's a lot of energy of forward motion where it's almost like we have a thrust forward. Okay, the 17th of April. So I know a lot of people have been saying that they feel like they're supposed to be doing something and they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. And that's really the energy that all of us are contending with right now. And it can cause a lot of like feelings of insecurity and questioning and doubt and what's happening. On top of that, we have Pluto just today on the 4th of April Pluto meets the South Node, his own South Node, and the South Node of the Moon. So if I were looking at a natal chart that has this house, okay, what the house is and where these planets are, if you look over at the 8th house, and this is the chart universal time. So for all of us, that's London time, but that's universal time. And what's happening there I would tell the client, it looks like you had a lifetime where you were in a position of authority and you abused your power, and there was dirty money going on and all kinds of nefarious affairs related to Pluto issues. Okay, so the reason that is important is because this new moon is in what's called a square to that energy of the South Node and Pluto and Saturn. So I've been talking a lot with the full moons that we've been having at 0. We had 5 in a row at 0 degrees of a sign, which, 0 is usually where we're starting out. But they were full moons, so that was an energy of completion. Now we have this new moon, and it is squaring the South Node and Pluto and Saturn. So if there's anything that you've been looking to start and you're hearing like, oh yeah, April or Aries, full moon or new moon, time to go, time to get it done. Hold that energy for, unless you're getting like very clear signs that this is the time to move forward. Do what you need to do, like individually. If that's the messages that you're getting and you're getting the signs that it's all systems go, by all means do that. But I would say still to start a new project, something from scratch, something that hasn't been brought up at all at this point, wait until the 17th of April. Because then really with Mars and Mercury, that's going to be like such a refreshing energy when that comes to be, when we have Mercury and Mars and mutual reception, and we've been feeling all of this like whoa kind of with the South Node meeting Pluto, and then moving up to Saturn, and then the Pluto and Saturn conjunction that will perfect in January of 2020 or 2020. We've already, they're conjunct already. They're only a few degrees away. And Saturn, they're both going to begin to move backwards this month. We have 3 planets moving into retrograde motion. On the 10th, we have Jupiter moving backward, and he will be moving retrograde until August 11th. We've also got Mercury then leaving shadow on the 17th. Pluto begins to move backward on the 24th of April, and Saturn moves back on the 30th of April. And a retrograde, because someone had asked me earlier this week about retrograde planets. So what happens with that is that the planet is between the Earth and the Sun. So it looks to the eye like it is moving backwards. It's actually not. It's sort of like, in Chicago, we have the L trains that are the elevated trains. So, there's portions of the highway leading into the city where you're driving next to the train, and it's like that, where you feel like the train is the train moving backwards, and it's a trick of the mind. It's like a trick that's appropriate too with what we've been having with Mercury and Pisces, a lot of trickster energy. And so even with this new moon, just be careful to double check everything. If you are going to launch something new, or you have something coming up, say at work, that you have to go through with, check and double check every single thing. Make sure you have all of your I's dotted and your T's crossed, because we're still in a little bit of the confusion energies, even though the Sun has moved into Aries. That Sun in Aries is answering to Mars, who is answering to Mercury in Pisces. And joining Mercury and Neptune in Pisces, now we have Venus. So at the time of the new moon, if you take a look there, you see the moon and the sun, and then you see in the 10th house, in the constellation of Pisces, you see Neptune, Mercury, and Venus is with Nessus. Now, Nessus denotes abuse, but it also is about the end of a karmic cycle, where it's sort of like the buck stops here, and there's responsibility taken and issues are dealt with. So because it's in Pisces, I would say, and Mercury is moving forward, that most likely there'll be more stories about the church coming forward, and just anything to do with women being degraded. And really, we have that moving even then after the new moon. We've got, so I said Mercury, the 10th of April is a big day, but you feel the energies before that day comes. So depending on how sensitive you are, that might happen with you on the 6th, on the 7th, you'll begin to feel these energies. When Jupiter goes retrograde, Jupiter is about opportunities for expansion. So when that does happen, that means that opportunities that you thought that were lost to you will come back to you. It might come back in a different way, but they will come back to you. So it's not a bad thing. When there's a planet that goes retrograde, it's just going over something that we missed before. Okay. And so yeah, that with that new, the April 17th, once Mars and Mercury are in mutual reception and Mercury is done with his confusion, and we start moving forward, that April 10th, Jupiter moving backward isn't going to affect that energy at all. But it will bring back lost opportunities that you thought were maybe lost to you, especially during this period. Don't forget that Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces. So during this Mercury period, if there were things that slipped away, they will come back during this. And it's long. It goes all the way till August, okay? And then he clears his shadow, Jupiter, November 5th. So that's a long period of time. And then shortly after that, he moves into Capricorn. So on the 10th, we also have Venus meeting Neptune in Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces, and Venus is about relationships and the other. And don't forget that we're in the middle of these 2 full moons happening in the constellation of Libra, where Venus is the ruler. And when full moons, it's a culmination, and it's about relationship, and it will, and restoring balance in relationship and bringing things into balance. So this could be a big day for relationships with anyone. It doesn't necessarily mean a romantic partner. And then also that day, the sun in Aries squares. So that's the squares are the most powerful aspects, but they're also an aspect of tension and of something like maybe breaking away. And with the sun squaring Saturn in Capricorn, Mercury will be in what's called a sextile to Pluto. So they're all 4 of those planets. So the sun, Saturn, Mercury, and Jupiter are all having a conversation, and Venus is in there too because she's with Neptune. So that's about where, I would expect that secrets will come out related to issues of authority, maybe nefarious goings on, secret dealings with money, possibly. And this could also have something to do with banks and just with the economy. And then the 12th, Venus is going to sextile Saturn. So that whole week, the 13th, the sun is going to square Pluto. And then the 14th, the sun will trine Jupiter. That's a very beautiful day. People talk about that being one of the luckiest days of the year because Jupiter is luck as well, and he's in Sagittarius. He's moving backward, but he hasn't even left the degree where he went retrograde, where he begins to turn retrograde, and he's actually been at that degree for a while now. He's been there for about a week. So that won't be, I don't think, like I said, lost opportunities coming up. But also, just expect there to be quite a few shifts going on through that week, that second week of April. There's a lot happening in the planets, and I would be surprised if it doesn't have something to do with money or the feminine or both, okay? And maybe secrets coming out. I also wanted to say a little bit about the Mueller Report. The day that report came out, the astrology of that day, and had it not come out, it still would have been that the astrology of that day was, and I said this to someone, that it was lie. But I don't think that it's so much a lie, that it was a lie, as much as that there was some information that has yet to be discovered or uncovered. But that was definitely a day where you didn't want something that, everyone's been waiting to see, if there was some big secret going on in dealings that we didn't know about. And the astrology for that day was not showing that was going to be a day that would come forward. So I don't think that story is over. That happened during the Mercury retrograde. And don't forget that Pluto and the South Node might as well have been at the same degree. They were very close together. And that relates to abuse of power and secrets. Okay. And so, I'm not making a statement either way about the report. I'm just reporting to you what the astrology was on that day. So don't be surprised when more things come out about it that we don't know, and even in relation to maybe things that he didn't know at the time that the report came out. Okay, that could be a story that plays on and on and on. And I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't a story that plays on and on and on. Then on the 15th, Venus in Pisces squares Jupiter in Sagittarius. So this could be a day where we get carried away, carried off, swept up in the hoopla of the whole thing. But it's like a day that's exciting and fun. If you meet someone that day, double check, run a background check, just because Venus is in Pisces and she's squaring Jupiter in Sagittarius. So that means that there could be something that you don't know about that hasn't come to light about that person. Then on the 19th, we've got the full moon in Libra, and that I'm going to make a separate video about that. The next day, then the sun enters Taurus, right? So the sun will begin answering to Venus, and Venus will enter Aries, okay? That's just a beautiful, refreshing energy. And I really think like that 17th through the 20th, we're going to feel so much relief. There's going to be so much forward motion, all of the things that have been bogging us down. And I know like emotionally, all of us are just drained. A lot of people are going through very serious shifts and changes right now. I hear you. I'm with you. I understand that. And really, you know, being supportive of one another, do whatever you can. If you find a group on Meetup to go to where there's like-minded people, and even in Facebook groups, just sharing and helping one another, getting through this. We're so close to being done with all of this Pisces groggy energy. I know a lot of you are tired because Mercury is hanging out with Neptune, and now Venus is getting ready to cozy up to Neptune as well. But I was talking to Metatron, like, what do you want me to say about this new moon? Just because I know that he isn't saying like, charge up, go ahead, run forward. And he just said, it's a new beginning of trust, hope, and faith. Okay. So it's where we're really, this is a new moon where we're really going within and having trust and faith and renewing our trust and hope and faith for change. And he also added that it's about being able to rise above and look beyond, quote, current conditions toward a new horizon and a new dawn. Really expressing hopefulness and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel is what it feels like right now. And so that's what we're going to do and what we're going to aim for. Still, it's a fantastic time for dreams. Like since about the 10th of February, everybody has had a big boost in dream time and messages coming in and downloads coming in. That's one of the great things about the Pisces energy too, is that we're getting a lot of just things coming to us where we're like, oh, and we just somehow know something that we didn't know before. And most of the time that's because overnight we're in the angelic realms and we're learning. And so that's been, and divine inspiration and creativity is Pisces as well. So really, we're still looking for that divine inspiration and thoughts and messages coming to us from the divine in relation to what we're going to move into, because I talked about this, I think a couple of months ago, how he showed me that going on through like from February through the end of April, that the timelines beginning to change and sync up. Okay. And as far as twin flame unions, that is something that I'm going to talk more about because this is an astrology channel that will be on my, my Patreon channel. And then I'll be able to move away from astrology more and just do teachings. Mary Magdalene was saying to me, you have so many things to share that only you have to share, and what's keeping you from doing it. But I'm waiting until April 17th to get all of that in order, just because that's the way my schedule is right now too. I don't want to ask people to subscribe, and it's going to be $1.11, and I'm going to make every video also available for individual viewing on Vimeo. So, and $1.11, very reasonable. I would like to be able to devote my time and energy to reaching what I told them, what I said to Metatron and to the creator was, I want to reach as many people as possible in the shortest amount of time possible. Okay, I'm an Aries rising, Aries anaretic degree, and I want to get it done. So I want to do that and spend more time on videos and doing teachings that way rather than individual sessions. You can still book with me for a 1 hour introductory sessions, but all of the follow-up sessions now will be 30 minutes. And that introductory session, having people book, I'm just going to carry that through until the end of April. And then I will no longer offer a 1 hour session. I'm not sure when I will start that up again, but I'm looking at doing it differently and maybe doing readings with Metatron. with people instead of going through the entire natal chart. So I will talk more about that though when we get toward the end of the month. And so anyway, everybody, I know this is short. I've missed everybody, hearing from all of you, and I hope that everyone's doing really well. And yeah, just, hang in there. Really, the energy is going to shift so much that second week. And then the third and the end of the month, I really feel like it's just, whew. So yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be great. So yeah, get all that divine inspiration downloaded so that you're ready to just shoot forward, right? All right, everybody, take care. I'll talk to you in about a week. All righty, bye-bye.